I went to Arizona State.
Right.
I'm a Sun Devil, man.
27-yard line. That's a great call, too. Blake Baker, Plummer will put it up, throws over the middle. Poole, touchdown. Quick flag.
Third down and 5. Levis swings it to Scadaboo. Scadaboo breaks defenders. Here he goes again. Scadaboo is the running back, and he is immediately met. The backfield runs through the contact and then throws a shoulder for good measure.
On this defense here. That is true. High in the air. Right center field. Brandon comes in. Welcome to 2025. Today. This one the other way. Still going back. That's the drag. Walks up and down.
Edwards pulls off and buries it. Richardson drives out for Robbie Ryan. Hurt 3 right on the money.
Takes his shot for Darby. Flag out. Doesn't matter. Touchdown.
Great set of the scores on the topic of the offense. Derek, you see what we talked about after we really stepped up, really stayed ready. You envision it having a lot of movement offense moving forward.
Yeah, I definitely think him getting on the field more is going to be good for us. He works, he's consistent. So I can definitely see him getting more involved.
Up front with Damon.
Hey, Kenny, Damon Allred, Arizona Sports. With Derek, how much is his multi-dimensionality with kind of the run plays that he got as well? How much is that something that's helping his case?
A nice word. That was nice. Let's get there. But it's huge. I mean, you can trust him. I think at the end of the day, the messaging to the offense today was I want people to play as hard as they possibly will play. And that we can trust will be where they're supposed to be and do what they're supposed to do. And that's somebody who will do all those things. He catches the ball, he runs the ball, he crosses before contact. Like he does all the little things right. Crosses like the ball. Right? For those of you who are wondering, like that's what he does. He just does everything right. And I think you can win with people who do things right.
And then quick follow-up, Keith has been here since you got here. Just what is the growth that he's had over just that whole time?
Gets better again. He's one of those dudes who gets better every single game. He learns, he puts it in the bank, and he applies it. Super intelligent. Definition of merit honors. Like, kid's going to play for a long time, and then he's going to be even more successful in the real world.
Max in the back.
Hey, Kenny. Thanks, Baylor, Target Sports Network. You mentioned after both Mississippi State and Baylor the dynamics of close games. How after Mississippi State, it was the first time you guys had kind of felt the wrong end of a close game. And then Baylor, you talked about that you guys just love heart attacks. Do you guys feel like you guys have an advantage maybe in the last year and a half of what your group has been through collectively in close games to where maybe you have maybe an edge on the rest of the league because you've been through it, you've seen every single possible scenario, and you feel like regardless of whatever close game result, you'll be prepared for it?
Yeah, I think, we harp on game situations all the time. I think our guys are ready for situations at the end of the games. I think our guys are ready to win at the end of games. We don't always get it done, but I think we've won in so many ways. I mean, we won off offense driving to score. We've won off kicking a field goal at the end of the game. We won off of a defensive interception at the end of the game in a 4-minute. We won versus UCF off from a 4th and 2. Going to be power read quarterback, cut cross, safeties make the play, right, to end the game and seal it. Like, we've won so many different ways in these close moments that I think our guys are ready for those moments in the game for sure. And that has nothing to do with coaching. Some guys, they make plays in the biggest moments. I mean, I wish I could tell you everybody do something special. They make plays in the biggest moments, and I think we got a bunch of our guys on our team who perform their best in the biggest moments.
Kevin.
Coach Kevin Hicks, Arizona State on SI. So much of the discussion about TCU has been about their offense, but obviously their defense has a real enforcer in Bud Clark. He's a legitimate NFL prospect. What challenges is a guy playing center field like him going to present for you guys?
Yeah, I mean their entire defense. They're playing really good defense right now through the first 3 weeks. Even dating back to last year, towards the end of the year, with all the returners, they're playing really, really good defense. Him being in the middle of the field, what's tricky with him is they do so many things on defense, coverage wise, pressure wise, that he could kind of be all over, and which makes it harder to find them, harder to play away from them, because of schematically how exotic they are with some of their shows, some of their pressures. Coach does a really good job, Coach Avalos. So. And they do a good job moving him around. So I think it's a great challenge.
In the back, Colin.
Okay, Don, I'm with E20. I know you get medical stuff tonight. Anybody that was out this past week?
No, we'll be back. Moss is still working his way back. I thought last week at this time he was going to make it. I would still say doubtful for him to make a return. We got some other guys getting checked out, but no, nothing from this week that should be better. Sip will be like full go. So you should expect him to be like more involved and more getting after.
One more. We seem to have a story about every coach crossing paths in one point or the other. Like Sonny.
I don't really know Sonny. I know he's won a lot. I know that. But I don't really know him very well. Only heard really good things. So he's obviously won, and he always has good quarterbacks. So that's not fun.
Hey, Coach. Luke Lumler, Sun Devil Source. Heading into your game against Robertson on Saturday, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the country with a clean pocket. Your pass rush, you talked a lot about working in the offseason, able to push him off his spot a lot. What does that say about the group's development?
Yeah, I mean, our pass rush, I've said it since fall camp, has been one of the most improved things on our team. It's just the size and strength of our defensive line and the ability to rush for and impact the quarterback. There were times where our games were a little sloppy last night or 2 nights ago, but for the most part, our games have been clean. Our straight rushes have been clean. Clayton didn't get a sack, but he caused another holding penalty, which is essentially a sack in my mind. So the impact is the same. So I think you have a whole bunch. I mean, Prince is playing well. There's so many guys that are just playing really well up front. They're playing team football.
And heading into TCU, who were similar-ish profile of Robertson, how do you carry that performance over?
Yeah, it's different. I think every guy you play is different. You can't let this guy extend plays. We knew last week he was going to be quick game, hot throws, balls over the middle of the field. This week, this guy he makes all the throws. He extends plays and makes explosives. So we've got to be able to contain him and not contain him for rushing for 150 yards, but contain him from extending plays, not getting sacked, and then extended plays, create explosive plays. And that's what we got to be better.
Jordan.
Hey, Kenny, when you mentioned guys making big plays in the biggest moments, is there something or how do you and your coaching staff identify and create a guy either at all?
I don't know. Lucky. I think care level. I always go back to whenever I don't know an answer to something. I think care level is real. I think how badly somebody wants something, the odds of succeeding are higher. Like how much what are you willing to do to succeed? Like are you willing to stay up all night if you knew it would create an advantage? Are you willing to go to bed at 7 if you know it's going to create an advantage? I think some people, they just want it so bad, they're going to do what is necessary. And those guys are going to have a higher level of performance come game day. Those are the guys who are going to be more prepared, and those are the guys who are going to perform better. So I would say care level. I just want people that it absolutely matters. Everything matters.
Doug
Franz on Blood Podcast. There's a guy named Red Auerbach that one time said, "I'm sick of these questions. We don't go out there and play solitaire." But I have a question about the offense. You said after the game, if they're going to bracket JT, we got to be able to find other people. Where's that line between he's a first round pick. If he's covered, he's open. He's covered, he's covered. He is open. And what is going on the backside? Why aren't guys getting open?
Yeah, I think some of it is, we're scheming, potentially JT up in some man things. So that when people bracket him man, our answer may not be, attacking them downfield. So I think we got to do some different things opposite JT with how teams are going to start playing them and how teams have played them schematically, which can help us. So I think that starts with me to fix that problem. Two, we got to be better at our perimeter blocking. We're not having as many explosive plays. Whether it's running backs, tight ends, just blocking in space, wide receivers, and those explosive plays. If teams are going to bracket a player and double team a player, well, naturally they're down a human being. Well, if they're down a person, there's one less person over here, whether you run it or throw it. So if you run it, you should have more explosive runs. If you throw it, we got to create better leverages and angles for that. So I think it's just a combination of things that we got to do away from if people want to bracket them. But once again, like I said last week, you can bracket, but we went on 2 drives in the first half that were over 13 plays. So we had 3 real drives, and 2 of them were over 13 plays. That's efficient as I've ever seen offense, right? One of the other drives ended on a holding call on a 3rd and 2nd conversion that would have extended the drive. Those were 3 drives in the first half. That's really, really good football. Now, if you score touchdowns, you get down there, right? So we did attack the way we wanted to. We just got penalties and we didn't score in the low red zone. So when you look from, the macro point of view of did you score or did you not, it doesn't look great. When you look at the details, it's like, man, we're that close to being really, really good. And I think that's always the challenge on Sunday and Monday is we come in and we challenge the guys to be better at the areas that we got to get better at in order to improve. Win or loss, doesn't matter.
And what's your favorite flavor of Powerade?
Oh, wait. Maroon?
All right, let's go with Blake.
You talk about the care level or that is players. So spinning that, where do you think care level is at with the community and the fan base right now? Back-to-back sellouts and now the opportunity to showcase yourself on Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, it's been unbelievable playing at home. We need that this week. This isn't one of the games that I've said this is going to be a critical game to our season. Said it from dating back to when the schedule came out. Was we have a really, really good TCU team with a really good quarterback coming in on a Friday night, high emotions, right before a bye week. Like this, we got to push all the eggs or the chips, whatever it is. Haven't slept much. In the middle, right? And we need the fans there. And we just don't need you there. We need you loud. Like we need to make an impact on Friday night for our players because we've been showing up. We've been great. I mean, the atmosphere has been awesome. Let's continue to build on that. And Friday night, let's make this the place to be on Friday night.
Andrew
Hazlett, Devils in Detail. Good afternoon, Coach. How have you seen Derek Hughes' video grow from a long time to now today?
He's just super intelligent and he works. I mean, that's how he's grown. Is he puts in work every day. He's intelligent, so he knows where to be. You know how many times we practiced jet sweep with him last week? 0. But guess what? He's done it in the past, and we trust him. So we just put him in there after he got momentum. We're like, you know what? We can trust this dude. Let's keep playing him. However we got to do it. Let's underthink the coaching and overthink the player. Right? It's a player's game. So we just said, how do we get him the ball? And we did it.
And then a follow-up question. How important was Jalen Clem's tackle on special teams on that one return from teams around?
Oh, it's huge. That Jalen just worked all off season. He's a tough dude, and he's gonna start playing more on offense. I said I want dudes that have an edge about him. I want to start inserting a little more of an edge, and Jalen's got an edge. And that tackle was an example of that. Him on field goal, he's at a wing or a tight end spot. Which basically, the tight end spot is basically get run over every single time kick the field. It sucks. That's your role. 2 people are going to run into both shoulders. Your job is to get as big as possible and be run over. And he just doesn't. And he's a really good football player, too. So we got to start saving some legs with some other guys and rotating the man to get him involved because that competitive nature is something that I support being on the football field. And guys who make plays like that, I want to feel.
Time for a couple more. Jacob, then Greg.
Yeah, you talked about not having an update for Alfred status. What have you made of Boogie Wilson? There are 2 games in that starting role. How important is it having a guy like that that's just ready for jump?
So I'm glad you brought that one up. Alfred is out, so that'll be the same. I was thinking guys that could come back, but my money was out, so like he couldn't be trigger. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, he's out. But he's been playing really well for us. You know, he had a really nice him and Rouser together. He had a really nice tackle, which created a takeaway in the football game, which was critical. So I'm glad we have Boogie. You know, last year we kind of got through the season without injuries, which is nice. This year, not so much. Dinged up pretty early with some vital players. Dinged up, you know, even throughout spring ball. But it was good to get Zach Swanson back this last week. He got a little reps this last week, so hopefully that continues to trend. But yeah, Boogie's been great.
And a quick follow-up, talking about guys stepping up in the second year. What did you make of Teacher Franklin?
That was his best game as Sun Devil for sure. Triggered when we needed him to trigger and blow up screens. Covered really well. Kept leverages. Squeezed. Attacked the ball when he was behind the ball after chasing the ball in the first drive for them, was great at TFL. So, you know, that's a guy, once again, care level high. You know, he wants to be good. Sometimes he's too hard on himself, you know. But his want to is there.
Go ahead, Greg.
Coach, I'm so glad you brought that up. That's where I was going. I was thinking about Sam. So last year, Sam was kind of an unknown blind, right? You hear safety say stuff like, oh, he was way faster than I thought he'd be. This year, everybody knows what they're going to get. How was he responding to that?
Yeah, really well. I mean, obviously, you know, early in the season, week 2, you know, like I just didn't like our plan. Like I didn't go do the job for him. But since then, he's been awesome. And when you think about last game, he equated for almost 300 yards, probably 75% of our offense, or that is roughly 75% of our offense, was him in the football game, run or pass. He was efficient. We didn't turn the ball over. He was his best in the biggest moments. So I think he's starting to learn how teams are going to play him. So, like, when you're a quarterback, you go through the nobody knows me phase. You get to, like, play your game. Nobody knows you. Then you go for the, whoa, somebody learned me. And then it's copycat. Everybody learns you. If one person learns something that gives you problems, everybody learns it. That's coaching. So then you're like, oh, crap, I got to get out of this. And then you've got to grow from that. And then they figure out something else that gives you problems. And you struggle. Until eventually you've been through the cycles of what everybody defense can do that can kind of give you a problem. So when you see it again, you're like, oh, this is like blank. And then you play better. So I think part of quarterback progression is those play really good. You know, we could have played better. But he's getting to that point where he's seen so much now that we know how teams are going to attack him for the most part. And he's done an awesome job.
And then with the guys who care a lot, like Sam, safety, defensively, linebacker, doesn't matter. For the guys who care a lot, there's the risk that they care too much. How do you keep that dial back? It's like, dude, you're awesome. Go be awesome. How do you do that?
Yeah, I think you have to say, like, you have to have enough, keep it enough fun. So where it's not like every play is the most important play, but you can't be wound up all the time. You got to go play the game. Like I tell Sam before the game, everything I told you, forget. It's over. If you're thinking about what I'm telling you before you take a snap, we are in trouble. You should be thinking about whatever is in your mind at that moment. You've got to play natural. If you're at safety and you're thinking about all this other stuff, right? Wrong. You should be thinking whatever is natural to you. And if we did a good enough job as a staff, what is natural to you is the plan. It's not thinking about what did coach tell me? Oh crap, they motioned a bunch. What did coach want me to do? What? Sack. We motioned a bunch. Oh, what coverage are we supposed to get in? Freeze. No. We motioned a bunch. React. Right? And if they're thinking about what we want, something's wrong. So I always say to those guys who love ball, when you get out there, if you're not ready, that's on us. Go play your game.
Jake.
Hey, Kenny, Jake Garcia, 12 News. Along those lines, with Keith Abney, what does it say that the natural thing for him to do after the PI call wasn't to spiral, but instead recommit to technique and raise, his level of game?
Yeah, he was pissed because he thought he was in good position. And like I told the guys at halftime, we got 2 PIs on their last drive at the end of the half. We were doing what I told them to do, which was take away a certain route concept, and they were doing it. And I'm like, great job. Like, we're playing man coverage, guys. If you play man coverage 50 times, you're gonna get past their defense. I wish we weren't. Maybe we'll play a game where we play man coverage 50 times and we don't. Wake me up, because that won't happen, right? Just unfortunate when it's back to back, and it's unfortunate when it's on third downs. Third downs, man, penalties drive me nuts because they extend drives for free. But if you play man and challenge people, you're gonna get flags. I always look at the end of the game when it comes to like in-game penalties. I always look at compared to the opponent because every crew calls things differently. So you can't say, penalties are bad because penalties can also be aggressive. So if they're saying, hey, we're going to call this game a certain way, as long as you're close to the opponent in those level of penalties, then all you're doing is playing football. They just may call it more, they may call it less, right? The penalties that drive me nuts are the self-inflicted, not on the ball, or an unbalanced, false starts, right? Those things drive me nuts. Football penalties, I mean, that's the game of football. It's going to happen. It just sucks when it happens at some timing.
Finish up with Niall and Ryan.
Showers for State Press. 6 penalties for 60 yards in the first half, though 1 for 10 in the second. How can they continue to be cleaned up as they were expected?
Yeah, same, kind of the same thing I just said in terms of I don't like procedural penalties. I hate pre-snap penalties. Those are MAs in my mind. But when it comes to like football penalties, like, all right, they had a great jump in the low red zone on one of our cadences. Unbelievable jump, and we held them. Okay, they got a great jump. Our guy gets turned, he holds them. Do I want that? No, but golly, let's change cadence so we don't get somebody jumping off on our offensive tackle. That's not fair either, right? All right, we play man coverage and we get 2 evens of holdings. All right, that sucks. We throw 2 screens, we get holdings. Yeah, we got to refit our hands a little closer, but we didn't stay engaged in the holding. The holdings were way better than they were in week 1 where we were grabbing and tackling, right? Now, okay, our hands were outside, we refit. All right, they got us the half second, our hands were outside. They threw it, right? Is that going to be thrown every game? No. So I think there's a balance of wanting your guys to play aggressive and teaching them to never get penalties. Like, there's some penalties you can't live with, but other penalties, if we're getting penalties attacking and playing the game like in an aggressive mindset in terms of blocking, cool, right? As long as we're not doing it recklessly, but I want to see violence and passion and aggressiveness. Like, that's what football is. Say over and over again, move people backwards, you win games. Both sides of the ball.
Let's finish up with Ryan.
Hey, Coach. Ryan Myers, Devil's Digest. I know at the beginning of the season in the fall camp, you and Coach Ward talked a lot about wanting to kind of do a lot of the same identifying processes, but kind of change up what you guys are doing in terms of what you were showing teams offensively. Do you feel like after seeing a game where you guys got 3 different takeaways that you're doing a lot of more improved stuff from last year in terms of disguising or showing things that maybe weren't shown?
Yeah, no question about that. And our thing is every 3 games we want to be completely different. So like hopefully this week we look completely different. Once a team gets 3 games on you, they're gonna have enough formation, video that they got you, right, for the most part. So every 3 games we try to look different, be different, right, change everything. So hopefully, we come out this week. Now the hard part is it's a short week. So there's a balance of how much can you completely change as opposed to normal going into a short week. But we definitely hope those shows, disguises, and some of those things look completely different this week because, like I said, you play 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks of football. When I say that, I mean similar style of offense, like open set offenses, right? When you play those 3 in a row, it starts to become obvious. So we tried to change a little last week. We'll change a little bit more this week, and try to constantly adapt.
Quick follow up to that as well. How do you do that, like you kind of mentioned, without overwhelming your players and kind of confusing stuff up before you get into it?
Yeah, make it look like quarters. I wish it was more complicated. Like make it look like thirds. Start over there and motion over there if you're on offense. Like it's not as complicated. It's more, can you do it throughout a game and get your job accomplished? Us coaching, it's simple, right? It's can we actually show it correctly? Because if you don't show it correctly, then you're just out of position and they already know what you're doing. So there is a balance of like, what do you show? What do you not? How do you want to trick people or do you want to say, this is what we're in, let's dance? I think there's a balance. I think sometimes you got to say, this is what we're in. You call your play, we've called ours, and let's go. And other times you've got to, throw the quarterback off to get him out of that rhythm as well. So I think there's a balance within that, like you said, where sometimes we want to have over disguises, sometimes we want to have under disguises. And if your over disguises look like your under disguises, then your under disguises are disguised, right? Because they go together. And that's the goal, is you want to make it all look the exact same without really doing much different.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. Coach.
Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
See you later. Thank you. So much.
What is up, my peeps? Welcome back into Pitchfork Lunch. Yes, I am Michael Caracino at Diablo00 on X, artistly known as the Twitter, as you know. Check out the show live there every day, Monday through Friday, 12 to 1. Also, you can check out my IG as well at michael.caratinudo.5. Yes, I know you guys know that. Also, don't forget, guys, subscribe to the YouTube channel because, well, watch live on YouTube as you should, but subscribe because, again, you have missed a plethora of phenomenal interviews. Friday, we had women's soccer coach. He joined us again, Graham Winkworth, and talking about their huge conference opening play win over BYU, who was number 10 in the country. And that kind of got the weekend just rolling off phenomenally for the Devils. And gotta say, very, very excited about that. Yeah, very excited about that because this team has not lost yet. 8-0-1. And Oklahoma State is up next. Yes, here at Sun Devil Soccer Stadium. Yes, on Thursday. On Thursday. So, yes, get on out to that. But they beat BYU. We talked about it on Friday. Obviously, had Coach on. But that is my point. That is why you need to subscribe to YouTube, just in case you missed it. Just in case you missed it. And you can always go back and watch. So you see my name, Michael Caratinudo. So it's at Amazon Michael, V is in victory, C is in champ, 005, at MVC005 on YouTube. And all you guys have to do is subscribe away. And you can, again, whether it's coaches, players, voices, insiders, alum, an athletic director who will be aiming to talk to next week, because, again, short week with football. And he's a busy man. He's got a lot of stuff on his books, obviously. So, that being said, definitely want to we definitely you want to subscribe so you can, again, go back and see the ones that you've missed, because, again, season 1, season 2, put them together, binge watch them, binge watch season 1, then go to season 2, and then now keep watching season 3, like I always tell you, and we'll go from there. But again, YouTube, it's at Amazon Michael, V is in victory, C is in champ, 005, at MVC005 on YouTube, and subscribe away. Also, so it was a huge weekend, like I told you guys. Huge weekend, like I mentioned to you guys, because it huge weekend because, like I said, soccer got the win. Volleyball hosted the Sun Devil Classic. Pepperdine, crosstown rivals GCU, and yes, Milwaukee were all here. They were battling each other, but the Devils, of course, took on all three teams. They started Friday night with a phenomenal win against Pepperdine. They swept them in 3. Then Saturday night, it was absolutely rocking in Desert Financial Arena. The student section from Grand Canyon, they showed out. The Lopes do travel, and I've said that we've said it many a times here on Pitchfork Lunch. I've told you guys that they travel, and Yeah, they the student section from GCU absolutely traveled. Um, and so yes, they traveled and they came out, and it was again absolutely phenomenal. And the even more amazing, awesome part is that the Devils swept them as well. So, I mean, think about that. Like they swept they swept GCU, and so 2 matches, 3-0, 3-0 does not suck, my friends, obviously, and I know you know that. So that is always, of course, good to see, because, and again, it was a little earlier than they probably would have liked to play Grand Canyon, but just with schedules and working out and hosting a Sun Devil Classic, and Coach, um, you know, schools wanted to have 4 teams all together here, so it kind of, with finding somebody who didn't have something scheduled. And again, it wasn't done crazy late, but nonetheless, 4 teams, Grand Canyon, Saturday night, they sweep them. It was absolutely awesome. If you missed out, again, that is a bummer. Unless you were obviously in Waco, for ASU and Baylor. Um, so, I mean, like I said, they controlled that match against GCU. Like I said, it was loud. The crowd got into it. And yeah, I mean, there was, the GCU crowd was into it too. They were trying to give it back to the 942 crew. But they won, and it was the 4th highest attendance ever. I know I probably should have led with that one. 4,753. But it was 25-16, 25-19, and 25-14. Obviously, all Devils just absolutely rolling. And it was great to see Noemi Glover back. She came back, and that in and of itself, to see, because Bailey Miller, obviously, you get the pin on the other side, the middles, with Ella Longoria and Colby Neal. Man, just been absolutely awesome. Jillian Neal playing all over the place. And then Faith Frame at libero too. I mean, definitely a transfer, but coming into her own. This team defensively all weekend long. It's just, ask Coach Van Niel about it. But yeah, you're going to have to make those plays, but they've dealt with injuries. Talked about that, obviously. Against Texas, Colby Neal and both Colby Neal and Noemi Glover were out. And not an excuse. Texas is a really good team. Not saying that, that Texas did win in 3 the second set. Talked to Coach Van Niel about that, and he was saying, we had it. We had it right there. And but they fall 30-28, and then Texas takes the third set on the road. But that's after going 2-0 in the Texas State tournament. But this, I mean, you look at like I said, Faith Frame. I mean, just at the libero position. And I mean, defensively, the team, just like last year, making plays. I mean, the last few years, obviously, Mary Schroll. Oh, congratulations to her, by the way, as she was part of the under. I'll look it up, but got a medal. Actually, played against her teammate from last year, Argentina Ung, who, again, is on the Mexican national team, which is no surprise. But and Mary Schroll being there, obviously, what she can do, definitely no surprise. But yeah, it's one of those things where for volleyball defensively, I say getting back to that, like just absolutely awesome. I mean, this lineup, and I mean against Milwaukee, who again not as good team, but just not as I guess you would say deep in every position. They I mean they dominated Milwaukee, and yeah, like Grand Canyon beat Pepperdine. They had the reverse sweep of Pepperdine, by the way. On Thursday, they dropped the first two and then took the last three. Grand Canyon swept Milwaukee in 3. Arizona State, like I said, they swept Pepperdine in 3. Pepperdine beat Milwaukee in 3, and then ASU, like I said, and Milwaukee. Milwaukee hit as a team for the match. They hit negative .069. Like the block was working, digs were working, some points went longer. Like this team, again, I mentioned Bailey Miller, obviously getting Noemi Glover back. There was no Tatum Parrott this weekend. She should be back. So, again, what I've heard, but I mean, Sydney Henry and Ella Lewis, I mean, serving wise, and Coach, I mean, look, I've talked ad nauseum. You guys know this the last few years. Coach Van Niel's been here, but just the pressure on the serve and like hitting, putting that pressure on the other team on the serve receive, and literally it's it is coming into its own. And I mean, tomorrow we'll hear from Colby Neal and the aforementioned Faith Frame, just about the weekend tournament. Now conference play starts, and they are headed to Kansas to take on the Kansas schools. You remember last year Kansas came here. Kansas was up top in the Big 12, just hanging on above ASU. ASU beat them here, and then went on to win a lot, win the Big 12. That's why they're reigning Big 12 champs, as I remind you every day. But yeah, they have Kansas and K-State. They have Kansas Friday, 5 p.m., and that's actually going to be on ESPNU. So if you're coming to the football game Friday night, because yes, Texas TCU is this Friday night, not Saturday, Friday night. If you show up at Mountain America Stadium on Saturday, very cool of you to do, but will not be here. So, but yeah, Friday at Kansas, Sunday at K-State. Sunday is at noon. And I don't see that listed on anything. So I don't know if it will be on ESPN Plus. I don't think it will. But yeah, and then they come home. Like I said, they'll be back home October 4th to be taking on Utah, and that's a 1:00 matchup on Saturday. So very, very, very awesome to see that. But yes, they have Kansas coming up. Like I said, last year they took the Big 12, and they I mean, there were battles, but Kansas, still has that bad taste in their mouth, I'm guessing. So that is what's coming up for them. Like I said, for soccer, Oklahoma State is here on Thursday. And that is at, I want to say 7 p.m. again. Get that right. 7 p.m. this Thursday. Oklahoma State will be here. So we'll see. So rankings, I want to say for soccer. Well, let's see. I want to say they come out tomorrow. We'll get into ASU not being, still outside the top 25 after a phenomenal football victory. Heard Coach Dillingham at the beginning of the show, brought that to you, talking about it. I mean, again, just a gritty, tough win on the road in the Big 12. It is tough. Other teams in the poll get, they get credit for this, credit for that. Like Illinois got blasted by Indiana, wasn't even close, and Illinois is still there. So I don't, I don't. The AP is just annoying to me, and like I say, Coach says, the number is great, it's something to talk about, but soccer rankings, I want to say will be out later tonight, or if not tomorrow morning, on the women's side there. So no change. But back to football. Like I said, Baylor, we're going to wrap on this, guys. That game at Baylor, absolutely phenomenal. Jesus Gomez drills the 43-yarder, throws an absolute dart, kicks an absolute dart to say, hits bullseye. I mean, it is down the middle. Post game, he was great. He's like, I didn't realize, he goes, I knew it was good. I turned around and sorry. He goes, I didn't see it go through. Again, he followed through. He's like, I knew it was good. And I mean, solid snap by Cade Davis. Again, the silky smooth hold by Kenyon Floyd, and Gomez just blasts it, does the rest right down the middle. And just after, ASU had gotten a lead, and then Baylor comes right back. Baylor comes back down on their one drive. Completes a 3rd and 22. There was a 3rd and 22 on their drive, and because CJ Fight friend of the show, awesome, had a huge sack, and had a huge sack, and you know, it created a 3rd and long, and yes, Baylor was able to succeed and convert the 3rd down, which, yes, absolutely frustrating, absolutely crazy. But yeah, I mean, but they give ASU the ball back, and what does Sam Levitt do? He marches the Devils down, and guess what? Gets them in. I mean, we know Gomez can hit from 50 plus. You don't want to have to. You don't want to if you don't have to, obviously. But yeah, just a heck of a last drive, more than enough time, and just ice in the veins down the field, and then ice in the veins for Jesus Gomez. Keith Abney, by the way, bold prediction. I said Keith Abney would get his first interception of the season. I said he would get his first interception of the season. And so Top Drawer Soccer, by the way, TDS, that just came across. The Devils are ranked 17th. So, yes, number 17 in the country. And that's after beating number 10. So we'll get to more of that tomorrow. But yeah, you look at the game. I mean, you look at the final numbers, and Sam Levitt, was 22 at 32, 221 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Sawyer Robertson, this young man, 25 at 39, 250, did throw the 3 touchdowns, but he also threw the interception. Keith Abney's first. That was one of my predictions. That was a prediction I had. And yes, that was a prediction I definitely had. And so, but you look, Levitt, what he did, and again, just Raleek Brown didn't hit 100 yards, but 21 carries for 80 yards. Levitt had 15 for 62, and he rushed for a touchdown as well. Kanye Udo had 7 carries for 18 yards. Derek Eusebio, 2 carries for 11 yards. But guys, Eusebio's big play, a 61-yard reception. The Devils are deep in their territory, and he hits a seam route, a skinny post, if you want to call it. And they just, obviously, we all know, Devil fans know Eusebio not slow. Remember the touchdown against Arizona last year. And in the seam, nobody comes over to him. Levitt just sees him, delivers an absolute strike. And guess what? Big catch. Then he runs a jet sweep, which Coach talked about today. I hadn't practiced with him, all week, but we've done it before. And, making plays. And he's worked hard. This kid's a former walk-on. We talked to him pre was it fall camp? Spring ball. I want to say fall camp. But either way, talk to him and just his journey. And, as hard as he works, and we've heard Hines Ward say, since he's been here, like last year, I mean, he's sitting there, he's a walk-on, but he's getting reps. He catches everything. And I mean, literally, if a ball does hit the ground and he doesn't make the catch, you're like, probably could have been a better throw. But even if he gets his hands on it, whatever, and he drops it, it is an absolute shock and surprise. So, but yeah, Eusebio, phenomenal catch, phenomenal play, and then just getting them more playing time. And Jordan Tyson, obviously the big touchdown. Like I said, he had 7 catches for 43 yards. They did bracket him a lot. Yes, there were some drops. I understand. Malik McClain had 1 catch for 11 yards. He dropped one. He was wide open, and another one was incomplete. I'm not calling it a target. It was over. Somebody he has slipped and fallen down. But yeah, Eusebio caught both of his targets, and just again grinding out a victory. 6 penalties, guys. And look, Coach Dillingham, you heard it on here, talked about this. 6 penalties for 60 yards in the first half. In the second half, though, guess what? 1 penalty for 10 yards. And by the way, there was 3 different holding penalties, 3 separate times on Baylor, completely blatant, and did not get called because Baylor had 7. They still had 7 penalties for 75 yards. It should have been 10. It should have been 10 for 105 yards, which, again, even crazier. But yeah, Coach talked about that. The procedure penalties, your false starts, stuff like that, that everybody goes, you're hustling, you're playing a physical game. Again, not cheap, not doing anything dirty, but you'll take obviously huge effort penalties. Like, you don't want to, but you're more accepting is what he was saying today. But man, and look, O-line, again, they rushed for 179 yards as a team. And threw for 221. You look at, 400 yards to 357. Pass yards, again, Baylor slight edge 221 to 150. Rush yards, ASU with a much bigger edge, 179 to 107. First downs, ASU 26, Baylor 18. Third downs, ASU was 6 for 17. Baylor was 5 for 12. Fourth downs, ASU was 1 for 2. Baylor was 2 out of 3. Total plays, 80 for the Devils, 62 for Baylor. Again, offense stays on the field, defense make plays. Keith Abney, again, phenomenal interception. That he had. So it's just Devils did not turn the ball over. Baylor did. Baylor, 3 turnovers that they had. They fumbled 2 fumbles. And again, one was just like Texas State when Keith Abney caused a fumble, Miles Rouser recovered it. Kendrick Breedlove, I want to say, forced the fumble. And then was it Boogie Wilson that recovered it? Could have been Boogie Wilson that recovered it. Again, I watched. I was excited. It was a volleyball double duty in it, but absolutely phenomenal. When I went back and again, I was watching the game, yes, but then when I went back and just watched, the fast version of it, no commercials, and no halftime. God, games would be way too fast like that. Players would be very tired, but very interesting to say the least. But yeah, when you look at that, ASU, and again, they should be ranked, but the SID's poll, I know you're like, what's that? No, it's the coaches poll, but I just call it the SID's poll because, again, as a coach, head coach, like, you're getting your team ready. Like maybe on your bye week, you would watch and be able to like what you saw rank teams. But yeah, the SIDs poll, and they are very qualified, knowledgeable, and they're around it. But they have ASU at 26, so right outside the top 25, receiving the most points and votes. The AP has them up only one spot to 30. But, because you can't get credit for winning on the road in the Big 12. Well, Baylor was this and this, and now Baylor's, 2-2, yada, 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 all this crap. But we'll get into more of that tomorrow. And again, that's just positive. Hey, you know what? They won. They keep taking care of business. Guess what? They got a tough one against the TCU team. That's had a very exciting one this past weekend. So, yes. But nonetheless, yeah, so hats off again. And special teams player of the week. Jesus Gomez, Big 12. Not really a surprise. This young man, like I said, I think the one field goal he has missed. I think he's only missed one field goal, and that was the one at Mississippi State, which was a 57-yard attempt. Which it was. I mean, look, accuracy-wise, it was right there. That's one of those that was just a little bit short, and it's crazy because we've seen him kick 50-yarders. I've seen him kick 50-yarders in practice, my pitchfork lunch peeps, and it looks, with where the ball was and like how it was, the trajectory and how it was flying, looks like, some of those would have been good easily, like from 60. So, yeah, Canyon Floyd this year, you talk about special teams real quick. 488 yards, he has 11 punts, 480 yards, averaging 44.4. A punt. And yeah, Jose Gomez, 9 of 10 on field goals this year, 9 of 10, and the one was from, like I said, from 57. Why does it not have extra point? Well, because extra points are so short. But hey, he could have missed an extra point. You get it blocked, but he doesn't. And Gomez, averaging 63.3 yards per kickoff. He has 19 already this season for 1,202 yards, which is 63.3 yards a kick, 12 touchbacks. And Kenyon Floyd actually kicked off 4 times. Again, did it against what was it, Texas State? He didn't do it at Mississippi, or did he do it at Mississippi State? Either way, he's got 4 total kickoffs, and averaging 64.5 yards. So yeah, Kenyon Floyd, again, the special teams, absolutely money. So, but Jesus Gomez, well earned, well deserved. Special teams player of Big 12 special teams player of the week. So talk more about awards tomorrow, but we'll dive more into soccer and volleyball as well with football. And we'll hear from Coach Ward tomorrow. Definitely will bring you that. So yeah, but you guys have a most phenomenal rest of your Victory Monday. It was phenomenal in Sun Devil Nation. So you have a most phenomenal rest of your Victory Monday. I will see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. And just like reigning Big 12 champs and Sun Devil Classic champs as well, the lady women's volleyball team reminded me it is #OurState for that school down south. Yes, that's for you. It is #OurState. Everybody have, like I said, a most phenomenal rest of your Monday. I will see you tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. Again, at Diablo00 on X, formerly known as the Twitter. You can hit me up there. My IG, Michael.Caratoon.5. YouTube, please watch the show live, but go subscribe to the channel so you can get caught up and catch up on the phenomenal con reviews that you have missed, Sun Devil fans. And look, I expect more from you because like you're going to want to see him as we dive into Sun Devil Nation. You're getting to know these players, coaches, and again, there's going to be a lot more coming of that, my friends. So have a phenomenal rest of your Monday. I will see you tomorrow. Like I said, same bad time, same bad channel. And yes, go Devils. But as always, you know it. Forks up.
I went to Arizona State.
Right.
I'm a Sun Devil, man.
27-yard line. That's a great call. Wayne Baker, Plummer will put it up, throws over the middle. Poole, touchdown. Quick flag.
Third down and 5. 11 swings it to Scatterbo. Scatterbo breaks defenders. Here he goes again. Another
Scatterbo is the running back, and he is immediately met. The backfield runs through the contact and then throws a shoulder for good measure.
Check this defense here. That is true. High in the air. Right center field. Brandon Compton. Welcome to 2025. Today. This one the other way. Still going back. That's the drag. Walks up and down.
Edwards pulls off and buries it. Richardson drives out for Robbie Ryan. Hurt 3 right on the money.